Safety has been one of those issues that we here on Mirror Now take up very strongly. We never spare an opportunity to question authority when it comes to their failure on infra or civic apathy. But today is a day that we have to turn the focus on citizens and their responsibility as well. Let's look at this video which we'll just play on our screens right now. A 23-year-old Lucknow youth has been booked under sections of public indecency and dangerous driving. He was riding with a girl, not in any regular way, but in a way that you can see for yourself what's happening out there. Apparently kissing the girl on the move. The couple was kissing on the move, sitting the way you can see them sitting in the middle of a busy road in Lucknow. I'm told this is one of the busiest stretch in Lucknow. With the ambient sound, it's a very busy stretch. Traffic is moving. The couple is, on the road in a two-wheeler, completely, in a way, oblivious to their surroundings. This is not romancing responsibly. This is rather a safety hazard. The girl, being a minor, has been let off with a warning, while the youngster now faces a prospect of 6 months in jail if found guilty under the charges on which he is booked. The point we are trying to make here is that this is not some attempt at moral policing that we are doing here. This is a case of a dangerous bike stunt, one that can also jeopardize the safety of others. And that's where it becomes a cause of concern. Also, this is not the first case. This year alone, look at the number of bizarre incidents that have happened. Let's play out some of those other videos. One from January this month, in fact this year, a video surfaced on Twitter showing 3 men indulging in a risky stunt by leaning out of the windows of a moving car. I'll request my producer to please cue those visuals. We'll play it out. Let me have Amir come in. Okay, so that's another one very similar that happened earlier on the 2nd of January. Another case of a similar video. Let me have Amir join us from Lucknow. Amir is going to tell us more about this case. Amir, you and me were discussing this scenario that, there is a limit to how reckless you can get on the road. And we have to put out the data as well that overspeeding happens to be the top killer. But these kind of stunts, it's like almost inviting trouble for yourself, especially on a busy road. Tell us more about what happened in Hazratganj in Lucknow earlier.
Well, Afrida, this video had been recorded on Tuesday evening. It was a busy time out here in Hazratganj marketplace. This happens to be one that is right in the center of the city, in the heart of the city. People from all around Lucknow frequent this place for shopping, especially around evening hours. And therefore, people were left aghast. You would understand the kind of cultural shock that many of those people who witnessed these scenes must have actually got, seeing this kind of a disposition that these two were actually driving in. While it was embarrassing, it almost seemed to be a visual affront to many of those who actually witnessed it, and that was why the complaint was actually made to Lucknow police. This video was also went viral on social media with millions of views coming within hours of this video having been posted on social media, and therefore the police was all the more prompt in terms of taking action, and therefore within 24 hours of this video having landed on social media, the police actually traced the driver, the owner of the Scooty, and also picked the girl who's seen riding in this video itself. Now, while this might seem amusing to some of those who actually witnessed this video, viewers who might be watching this on the screen, but the fact is that this is very, very dangerous. And leave apart the point that this was a cultural shock for many such people who witnessed it. The fact is that you can see that this particular Scooty and the one who's driving it, this young 23-year-old man, is negotiating in between the traffic while they were found in this position. So public display of affection is a different thing, but driving dangerously and doing such acts in public places, especially while driving a vehicle in a public place on the road, is something which is very, very dangerous and also is outside the ambit of law. And therefore, this young man has rightly been booked under two sections, section 279 and 294 of the IPC by the police here. And in fact, the driver of this vehicle has also been arrested by the police. Yes, the girl happened to be a minor, and therefore she has been let off after a warning by the police. But people must understand, and youngsters must take a lesson of how things can really go awry, can go out of hands if they take law into their own hands. Perhaps trying to be sporty on one side, but then the law doesn't take it lightly.
There is an aggressive streak, there is a defiant streak in youngsters, but when it comes to the law of the land, that is same for everyone. And as Amir rightly pointed out, the law will kick in. And of course, in this case, the girl happened to be a minor, but for the young man, a 23-year-old, he will have to face the law. He's booked already under two sections. Amir, thank you very much for joining me with the inputs. Other visuals also on air. Look at the stunts that people have indulged in. Mostly young people, as you can see visibly, young and restless as they are called, but safety first. That's the whole idea of doing this, that you can get booked, you can be jailed for doing some of these stunts. So the idea, of course, here is to tell the citizens as well that while we question authorities when mishaps happen, let's also get responsible. There was one incident where a man was found drinking on the car's roof in the middle of a traffic jam in Gurugram. That visual is also playing there. An undated video showing this man casually drinking alcohol while sitting on the top of the roof of the car. And then there's been another video of an Andhra couple hugging and moving around in a bike, exactly the same way that the Lucknow couple did. So these are visuals that really warn us that this is something we have to refrain from. Let me introduce, joining us here on the program, Hormaz Sorabji, editor of the Autocar India, and Vibhuti Narain Rai, ex-DGP of Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Rai, a very good evening to you, both of you gentlemen. Thanks for joining me here. My first question to you, Mr. Rai, that, every society has the young and the restless to contend with, but of late we see that there is this youthful exuberance or assertion or rebellion, whatever you would call it, that has reached dangerous levels. So what, according to you, can control this? Does it require policing, or you think there's a more holistic approach that we need?
I personally feel that support from the social media and the publicity on social media is encouraging our youth. Only thing is, I am not bothered about the cultural connotation, but this type of driving is dangerous. It was dangerous not to the lives of the people who were indulged in the act, but also to other passers-by. So nobody has the right to put his or her life in danger, and more lives of others in danger. So Lucknow police has done they have taken a right step. Only thing is, since the girl is minor, so I hope his family will counsel her. The friends and nearby people, they will counsel her, and she will not indulge in such activities in future. Let's hope.
Of course, like I said in the beginning of the program, there is no attempt at moral policing here. If you are an adult, you are entitled to your privacy. But in public space, rules apply. Public decency is something, as Mr. Rai can tell us, is something that comes under law. So can you explain to us, Mr. Rai, that when we book somebody under indecency, obscenity, what comes under that section, sir? What does that section imply?
Obscenity is a very, you can say, something very subjective. So personally, I don't believe in those provisions of law. Only thing is that it should not be, it should not cause, uncomfort to the other fellow citizen.
Okay.
and should not endanger their life. There may be certain provisions, and certainly Lucknow police will book them under those provisions also. But personally, I feel that road safety should be the first priority.
Okay.
And
That's
action
a fair
should be
point.
taken against them for putting lives of others in danger. Yeah.
Okay, because yes, like you rightly said, oftentimes police use these sections very liberally against, innocuous gestures as well. That should not happen, but this is not one of them. This certainly calls for action since, like you said, it jeopardizes the safety of others as well. Mr. Saurabhji, this is not the only case of daredevilry. We are playing the other cases out as well in visuals. Just to show that these bike stunts has become something fashionable, road antics, over-speeding has dangerous consequences. And if we can put out the data there, and I was looking at it and I could see very clearly that over-speeding happens to be the top cause of road accident deaths. How do we, create a system, an ecosystem where there is greater awareness for road safety? Because this also comes with a certain sense of not being aware how this could not just jeopardize your life, it could also jeopardize the lives of others. It could injure you for life, which could be even worse sometimes.
Yeah, well, firstly, what I'd like to say is that overspeeding is, I would say, to be honest, quite an overused reason for a lot of accidents. Yeah, it is largely the reason. But I think, we have to get to the root of the problem, and that is proper driver education and enforcement. I think the issue is that our licensing procedure is very, very lax, very easy to get a license. I think people who just jump on a two-wheeler, I don't know what sort of test they've done. Without proper, let's say, a proper test, proper education, the whole concept of safety is just gone out of the window. I think also it's a cultural issue. Generally, we as a country don't give too much importance to safety, whatever we do. I mean, just see the number of people killed on rail tracks because they don't think it's convenient to use an overbridge. So I just think we just generally we don't give a lot of importance to safety, and that's the manifest the way people ride on the roads. It's become a menace. It's become chronic. I think enforcement is one way, but how much can you enforce? This is a big country with millions and millions of two-wheelers. We're the largest two-wheeler market. We're just spawning more and more two-wheelers. So I think it starts with extremely stringent licensing and making sure that people understand what the rules of safety are, and making it like a proper exam that if you pass a driving test, it's like getting a degree.
That's an important point. You're saying stringent licensing could be one way, but overall, Mr. Saurabhji, like you mentioned, we lack that culture of not just keeping ourselves safe, understanding that there are others who could be inconvenienced to the youngsters out there who are eager to get to the road. I mean, you would see that most youngsters get excited when they turn 18 because, okay, now I can drive, I can be on the road. What would be that one thing you would suggest we do as a country when they take that big step? What is that one thing that we can tell them before they go for it?
Well, I think, I think it's basically know your own limits. I think people generally don't do that. And over there, I would say limits are linked to speed. It depends on the situation. On an open road with no traffic around, you can drive at a certain speed. If you're driving in rain or fog, you have to lower the speed, which may be well below the speed limit. At the end of the day, it's, the kind of, you have to be speed appropriate. I think that is absolutely the key rather than, just talk about overspeeding, because that's, you react, basically every human has a reaction time. The faster you go, your reaction time doesn't allow you to prevent an accident. Just to give you one statistic, one of the vehicles which has the lowest rate of fatalities is a three-wheeler. And that's because it operates in a very low-speed environment where people can react, take avoidance maneuvers. They can do that. But, I think it's all about really behaving appropriately given a situation. And I think, again, it comes back to proper driver training and education to understand what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And, certain things have to be said are taboo, whether it's sticking your kids out of a sunroof or seeing this ridiculous public display of affection on wheels. I think all this has to be kind of attacked head on.
There must be strong deterrent action. And
yes,
like
I think even enforcement has to be there, but enforcement is not possible across the country. But when you can do it, it has to be a lot stricter.
Yes, since you mentioned three-wheelers, and data also shows me that two-wheelers two-wheeler accidents are the highest. They're almost double that of pedestrian and cars. At 69,385 deaths toll caused by two-wheeler accidents. So something that we just saw happening in Lucknow is not something that can be encouraged at any cost. Thank you so much, Mr. Saurabh ji and Mr. Narain Rai, for joining us here on the program.